Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe. I'm a sales and marketing coach and strategist for health coaches, life coaches, and wellness professionals who want to become a leader in their field by building their online community, rocking their sales process, and finally feeling confident about how they promote themselves and their marketing. On this show, we talk about tips to grow your business, save yourself time, and finally be able to create a sustainable, profitable business. Let's get into it. Today's podcast is brought to you by the Zero to Hero Coach Program. This is my 4-month program teaching coaches and online service providers how to grow your online business, book clients consistently, overcome your sales fears, and finally rock your social media visibility. If you struggle to create a sustainable coaching business, this program is for you. Check out HaileyRowe.com and book your free strategy call with my team or myself today. Thank you. Hello, today we're talking about a mix of topics, but they are things that I've seen come up again and again with my clients, again and again in conversations, and just being in this entrepreneurial roller coaster ride that many of you guys are on as well. So if you are here and you're new or you have some questions, you can put them in the comments. If you're listening to the podcast replay, obviously you can always DM me at Hailey_Rowe with any questions. And before we get started and into today's meat and potatoes, I want to let you know that this weekend, this Valentine's Day weekend, if you're listening past Valentine's Day, I'll extend the offer within that week of Valentine's Day and next week. My company and we are doing a social media package, influence, authority, and reach social media package deal. So if you've ever been thinking about how you want to grow your Instagram with targeted followers, how you want to put out content consistently, and how you want to save yourself some time in having to do those things, just go ahead and DM me Hailey_Rowe with Valentine's Day social media package, and I can tell you more about it. Or if you're late to the game, you can always go to HaileyRowe.com and get in touch with me through there. Or you can go to GoPowerPlayer.com and get in touch with us through there as well. So anyways, let's get into it. So when it comes to bootstrapping, what does that really mean? It means kind of having to work with little monetary resources in your business. And there comes a time, usually on everybody's business journey, where you're starting out and you're like, well, how do I, it's hard because you're like, I want this to grow, but I also have a limited amount of resources available to me. And they always say, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? It's like, what do you do in that situation? And so I'm going to share with you just some, not only thoughts on that subject, but also some motivation when you're in that time in your business, because I think a lot of times people just use that as this hopelessness. Like they just think, well, fine, I can't do it then. Or they get frustrated very easily and give up very easily when they're in that bootstrapping stage, right? So first, I just want to talk about what can you do when you're in that stage. And one of the things that I did was that was kind of my cue to start my podcast, because I knew I wanted to learn. I knew I would go implement, but I didn't necessarily want to outsource it yet. And so what I used my podcast for was to have an excuse to go to people who I wanted to learn from, make it beneficial for them because they're getting the opportunity to be on a podcast that I'll promote in places, right? And see if I can interview them. So my point with this first thing is milk it. Milk what you have. Look at what you have, connections you have, people you know, resources you have, past courses you got or you signed up for free, and say, how can I milk what I actually have, and have I really squeezed the juice out of what I have in my vicinity, okay? And most of the time people get closed-minded because they want a certain thing, like, well, I want to do Facebook ads, and then they just start to like close off to everything else. And really, there's so many things you don't see. So ask, what don't I see that I have for free available to me, or I could reach out to, or someone could connect me to, or I could turn into a positive opportunity and a win-win situation or partnership? And how can I go milk that, right? And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not willing to ever get to the point where you're not going to be able to you don't have to bootstrap anymore. You have to be a little bit scrappy in the beginning of your business. So that means getting uncomfortable and finding ways to collaborate with others, even if they might have a bigger audience than you, and just putting yourself out there, because if you don't take the shot, you're definitely going to miss it. But if you take the shot, you might, when you take so many shots, one of them is going to pull through. So that's the first thing. The other thing is you have to ask yourself, and this has to do with, we're talking motivation and bootstrapping today, so it's not just bootstrapping, but I want you to trust your pivot, or pay attention and use your pivot moment. And I call a pivot moment means, for example, back in 2017 when I was still a coach, but I had been not being a full-time coach, and I put my business on hold to work at startups. And the startup that I worked at in business development and marketing, they had a bunch of delays. The entire team, they had to get approved for some stuff in the city that they wanted to be in. It was a medical and health and wellness place, so you can imagine a lot of like FDA rules and things like that. Anyways, entire team got let go. And that was my quote unquote pivot moment. And the reason why I say it was a pivot moment is because I could have used that time to be depressed and be like, oh, I don't know what, I got to get another job immediately. What am I going to do? But instead I used that pivot moment as oh my God, this is going to be a part of my story. This is going to motivate, put a fire under my butt to figure out my own business, which is what I wanted to do ultimately all along, but I had put it on hold because I was doing this other job. And I'm just going to make this my pivot moment. And you make this decision that no matter how bad it gets, no matter how hard it is, no matter what I don't know yet, you just decide that's my pivot moment and I'm going to turn it into a positive. And so I think that you, as entrepreneurs, you get to decide what that is for you. And it doesn't have to be a groundbreaking, like, oh, I got fired from my job. It can be something as small as, you know what? I just remembered, as Gary Vee says, I watched this video on Instagram. He says, we're all going to die. That's right. I forgot about that. And it's now or never. And I need to do what I want to be doing, even if that's in a small capacity in the beginning. And I'm going to live out my mission and my message. So I know that was a little turn, but if you guys have ever listened to Gary Vee, he will put some urgency into your body and he will help you. If you need a pivot moment, you can listen to content, you can find different ways to get yourself motivated to look for opportunities and make it happen for yourself. And that's the other thing too, like, I think if you really want to do something, you shouldn't need to rely though on motivation or somebody to motivate you. You have to become self-motivated. And there's an Elon Musk quote that says, if you need motivation, because somebody asked him at a seminar or an interview or something, how do you stay motivated as an entrepreneur? And he's like, if you need motivation, this field of entrepreneurship probably isn't for you, because it can be hard and it can be a lot of unknowns. And he's failed so many times, but he doesn't really need to be motivated. He doesn't need other people to say, well, good job, you did that. You know what? Right, great. It would be nice to have that, but you don't need that. And you can become self-motivated. You can motivate yourself. So that's the other thing. When it comes to the topics of bootstrapping and being resourceful in your business and also motivating yourself, you can cultivate those feelings. You can do that yourself. You don't need other people to do it for you. And the other thing you have to be willing to do, though, if you are going to be self-motivated and protect your energy, is you have to be willing to change your environment or who you hang out with or your thoughts or the way that your outlook on something to be able to do that. And so the way that I like to always talk about mindset beliefs, and it comes from Corinne Crabtree, she cracks me up when she says this, is it's like when you are sporting negative beliefs, when you are needing external validation, etc., to feel good, and you're throwing a tantrum, it's like you're sitting in a dirty diaper, and you can choose to change your diaper whenever you want. You're an adult, right? So if you don't like your environment, change it. If you don't like the people you're surrounding yourself with, find new people you can also add into your environment. And the other thing is, you have to be able to start seeing, let's see, what did this say? Yes, I am using a filter. Somebody said in the comments, filter. Yeah, grateful for filters today. My hair looks like really rough, and sometimes the filter like smooths it out a little. Same thing with my sunburn. I have a little sunburn, it's peeling off, and you would never know it because I'm using this filter. Okay, so let's move on. Immediately started, I don't know what that meant, so I'll have to go back to that one later. Oh, okay, know your upper limits. Okay, many times if you guys have ever read The Big Leap, we place these limits, like we think that, okay, well, my job's really good, my family's really good, but that means that I always have to be struggling with my health or something. Like I can't have it all. So I want you to start exploring, what are the beliefs that, like, why can't everything be good for you? Why can't you charge more? Why can't you put yourself out there online? And start to write down what comes up for you, because that's how you find what your limiting beliefs are, or the thoughts that you have about how things have to be are. And we can always be challenging that, or like I said earlier, seeing it in a different way, changing our dirty diapers, right? So why can't everything be good for you? Why do you have to struggle through this business journey? Why can't you enjoy it? Why can't you have fun in the process without needing to be at the result right this very second, right? And the other thing is, when it comes to being a business owner and having to bootstrap in the beginning, one of the things you have to do is ask yourself, how can I bring so much value and give so much that it does come back to me? Because a lot of times we always ask, well, what do I want in my business? What are my goals? But instead we should be asking, what can I give in my business? What can I put out there that is so awesome that it's like inevitable that it will come back to me? And when I also, though, want to let you know that there's a fine line between giving and not needing to, and giving your power away. Okay, so what I mean by that is, you can give a lot of value, you can give a great opportunity to the market that's not already there, but what you can't rely on, and going back to the Elon Musk quote, is you can't give your power away. You can't you can't say, well, I need to be told that this is really good, or I need someone to tell me that I'm really awesome for me to keep doing this. Because you just have to, sometimes it's a thankless job to be giving and putting things out there and building your brand up in the beginning before it starts to come back to you. So you have to give, wanting to give, without needing to give your power away to get a pat on the back or a validation. And the other thing is, how can you put your goals center stage in your business and show up for yourself and take very good care of your business without, because going back to the give and take, if you give good care to your business, you give good care to yourself, who's the business owner, who is your business is going to give back to you. You can't get around the fact that you have to put energy into your business to get energy back. And the other thing is, when it comes to building, like staying motivated and letting yourself make mistakes, sometimes you have to, just because otherwise you're going to stay stagnant or feel stuck, you do have to let yourself in the beginning get started without ultra clarity. So I see a lot of people being like, I know I need to get, and I'm a huge fan of helping my clients get clear on their niche, get clear on their offers, get a really clear brand and what they stand for. However, sometimes I wish some of them would just go make mistakes and get their hands in the clay before it's all perfect and fall down and look dumb a little bit, because that's also very important to the learning process, and you're going to gain clarity through that. You really get so much more clarity through messing up and making the mistakes than you do, waiting until you have the perfect opportunity to work with a coach and get clear on your niche and do all these things, right? And thanks, Coach Missy. I appreciate that. Also, the other thing I want to say, I'll give you an example of things I've done to make mistakes, especially when building my team. I've built a team and I thought I trained them on something, and I'll be like, okay, great, let's get started. They go do it. It has a big mistake in it. And I'm like, oh shoot, but it's not their fault. It's my fault. I realized through that mistake that wouldn't have happened if I just said, hold on, wait until we have every tiny detail and direction nailed out for you. I had to let them go do that mistake because it allowed me to see, oopsies, I did not train them on that, or that needs to get added to the SOP, the standard operating procedures. I forgot to tell them that they need to not do this, right? And so I couldn't have gotten around it. Sometimes you gotta be able and willing to fall flat on your face and make a mistake, or have your team make a mistake and allow you as a leader to see what you didn't do to improve. So my question for you is, in your business, what does it look like to be really resourceful? Because if you truly believe, and I truly believe this, and I don't know about you, but I believe you can have anything you want if you just figure it out and be resourceful. So if you want to do a coaching program, or if it's your dream to, get a life coaching certification or something, and maybe you can't afford it right now according to your definition, how can you be resourceful? How can you create value that will come back to you in multiple ways? How can you give energy to something that your dream and focus on it and put that goal center stage and figure it out? And also keep in mind that you should not need to wait until somebody else motivates you, somebody else, holds you accountable. And if you are struggling with that, if you know that you fall into that trap, like I need external validation, or I need permission from somebody else, or whatever, I want to encourage you actually to use the Health Coach Nation Facebook group. Find a friend in there and say, let's set a goal, each month. Let's go find the Health Coach Nation podcasts around that topic to help us get started for free, or whatever free resources there are online to help us get started for free. And then let's go report back to each other at the end of each month and see how we did, and see what's still missing and what are the gaps, and keep improving and refining and finding new tools and to help us get there, right? So that's the other thing, is be proactive against what might trip you up, or might the ceilings that you're setting for yourself. That's why earlier I said to write down the questions like, well, why can't I have it all? Why can't I make this much amount of money this week to go spend that on my certification program I want to do? And you're going to start to realize the little things that are in your head that you thought were true that might not be true, so you can go plan for those things that you think are going to get in your way, how you can address them, how you can start to change those beliefs and see things differently. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And if you liked it and want to reserve your very own free sales audit, go to haileyrowe.com/strategy-call to book your very own free sales audit. On the call, we'll talk more about the common concerns you get from your ideal clients, how to overcome those concerns, how to coach through objections, how to change your mindset around sales, and improve your sales process so you can be closing and converting more clients. I can't wait to connect with you, and go to haileyrowe.com/strategy-call to take the first step. Thanks so much. Have a good day.